If you're in the market for the best smartwatch to go with your Android phone, there are two that really stand out for their mix of features and design, and that's the Galaxy Watch 6 from Samsung and the Google Pixel Watch 2. Both have great fitness tracking, come in small sizes, and the latest features the smartwatch Wear OS software can get you, but which should you buy? I'm Cam Bunton from Pocket-lint, and in this video I am going to tell you. Now, it may seem a little unusual for a piece of tech, that design is, I think, one of the main elements of these two watches that will push you one way or the other. And even this isn't cut and dry, because you might decide that looks matter more than durability to you, or the other way around. So let's go over the aesthetics first, because it's a watch for a lot of people, it's fashion, it's self-expression, and so how it looks actually matters, and in this regard I think Google wins. Just like the first generation Pixel Watch, there's real care and attention put into how the watch looks and fits together. The curved glass on the top curves into the aluminium case to create this smooth, seamless, rounded shape. And even when you look at the mechanism for attaching and removing the strap, there's clear purpose in it. It's designed to enhance that seamless approach to looks. Now, it does make it a little bit harder to find and fit third-party straps, but it's gorgeous to look at and ensures that the watch doesn't dominate too much space on your wrist. For those looking for a smaller watch, it's ideal. Funnily enough, small size is actually one area that goes against it as well. Not because it shouldn't be this small, but more because it only comes in this one size. There's no option for those who prefer a larger watch. With Samsung's approach, both small and large arms are catered for. Whether you go for the standard model, which comes in 40 and 44mm, or the classic version, which is 43 and 47, you get to choose if you want a big or a small watch. Which brings us to another benefit of Samsung's. There are two distinct styles of Galaxy Watch to choose from. There's the plain, admittedly quite boring and uninspired Watch 6, and then there's the Watch 6 Classic, which has more of a traditional watch look to it. Now, to me it looks more like an imitation of a traditional watch than an actually authentic looking watch. But there's a benefit to that bezel design in that you can rotate it to control parts of the interface without having to touch the screen all the time. Now, Google's approach to this was to implement a rotating crown in the center on the edge. It allows the company to keep its seamless, compact design and still have a physical element that turns to move things on the screen when you don't want to touch the screen. So I've talked looks, but there is another very important part of the design conversation, and that's build quality and durability. Here, Samsung's spec sheet sings all the right notes. In fact, if you want to choose a watch based on which is going to do a better job of surviving the rigors of everyday life, the Galaxy Watch 6 is the one. And that's not down to water resistance or waterproofing, because both watches have the same rating there. They're rated to 50 meters and have an IP68 certification too, so you can wear them in the pool, in the rain, during sweaty workouts, and you'll not have a problem. What Samsung has more of is the ability to withstand knocks and scrapes and bangs. The display on both the regular and the classic variants is coated with sapphire crystal glass, and that's more scratch and impact resistant than Gorilla Glass 5 that Google uses on the Pixel Watch 2. Samsung even went to the trouble of giving it the military standard compliance rating for shock and impact absorption. In other words, it can really take a knock and should survive in hot, cold and damp environments. And whether you go for the aluminium bog standard model or the stainless steel classic, that rating is the same. So you want another area these two watches are very different? How about the displays? I won't spend too long on this because the differences are so clear and plain to the eye that there's no nitpicking required. The Pixel Watch 2 has a 1.2-inch display, and it's got some pretty thick bezels all the way around it. Thankfully, most of the screens and watch faces are dark, so you can't often see where the display ends and the bezel begins, but it does limit how much space there is to display data and graphics on. Even the smallest Samsung Galaxy Watch 6 has a larger display than the Pixel Watch. A watch which, it's worth noting, is also slimmer, lighter and more compact than the Pixel Watch 2. At 1.3 inches there's more screen real estate, and Samsung's done a great job of pushing those bezels out until they're super slim, on both the regular and the classic variants. And of course there's a bigger model. Regardless of size though, the displays are also sharper, packing in more than 100 extra pixels per inch, to give fine lines and text a bit more crispness and smooth edges, making it a little bit easier to read. The software is quite different too, with Samsung's version of Wear OS is quite heavily skinned and offers up a load of Samsung alternatives to Google's stock features. So you can have Samsung Pay and Bixby as examples instead of Google Pay and Assistant, although because it's Wear OS, you can use those instead if you want. You get access to the Play Store on both watches, so you can install any third-party apps that are available on that platform. So I said there are a couple of main areas I think that will decide this for you, and another of those is fitness tracking. And the difference isn't necessarily in what the watches can track, because they both have a very similar set of high quality and reliable sensors. In fact, when it comes to intense workouts where heart rate can ramp up quickly and when using kettlebells means your arms and wrist area can move a lot, other watches sometimes struggle with inaccurate readings. But both the Pixel Watch and the Samsung Galaxy Watch have been reliable. And they can track a lot too. They've got the usual all-day heart rate, altitude, motion and sleep tracking, through to blood oxygen saturation and skin temperature changes for better menstrual cycle tracking and predictions. In fact, Pixel Watch 2 has a skin conductance sensor too, for measuring and notifying of any emotional and stress changes, but that feature I didn't find to be all that useful. Most of the time it told me I had a reaction to something, and by the time it told me I'd forgotten what it might have been, and wasn't feeling it anymore. Now, what makes the biggest difference to me using these two watches is that the Pixel Watch 2 has Fitbit built in, and I think it's the easier and the best fitness suite of the two, because the way Fitbit translates all your data and then presents the important stuff you want to know right on your home screen makes it easy to digest and understand, making it more useful to me every day than having lots of numbers and data in different places. If your main aim with a smartwatch is to have a great fitness tracker, the Pixel Watch 2 is the better choice here, I think. Now sure, some parts of Fitbit's experience might be locked behind a paywall, but it's worth it for the company's expertise in making fitness and health relevant to you on a daily basis, and not just turning it into a numbers game. Now before I wrap up, I have to mention performance and battery life because, surprise surprise, this is another area that makes quite a difference. And battery life is the one that really stands out, because if you get the Pixel Watch 2 and you use the always on display feature, you'll need to charge it every 24 hours. With it switched off and the raise to wake enabled, it's not so bad. Either way, it'll comfortably make it through a day, even with a workout thrown in. Just not very long workouts with GPS tracking enabled, so ultra-marathon runners might want to look elsewhere. Even the smaller Galaxy Watch 6 does better and lasts about a day and a half in my experience, plus it has wireless charging so you can charge it on the back of your Samsung phone in a pinch if you need to. Pixel Watch doesn't even have wireless charging, it uses its own 4-pin connector system. Now, where Pixel performance does seem better is in general speed and fluidity. It just feels more responsive and smooth when I'm using it. Samsung's can get a little stuttery, but it will load apps and workouts quickly. This is one area I wouldn't say is worth basing a decision on. Now, as much as I prefer, personally, using the Pixel Watch 2, the Galaxy Watch 6 ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people, especially if you already use a Samsung phone. It integrates with Galaxy mobile devices really well. Plus, the battery lasts longer, all the models have bigger, sharper displays that are easier to read, and you get the choice of 2 sizes and 2 different styles, plus there's wireless charging. It's hard to argue against the benefits of Samsung's approach there. But if you want the best designed watch, the watch with the best fitness tracking and experience a clean and smooth software, the Pixel Watch 2 is the one to go for, and it's the one that I personally would buy. It's just a shame the battery life isn't better and that there's no option of a larger size. Let me know what you think of these two smartwatches. Will you be buying either of them, or have you bought one already? Let me know in the comments. If you need to get hold of me on Twitter, I'm at Cam Bunton. And if you did like this video, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe and tap that notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.